Scott Fisher, and his topic is today Team Cymru Network Community Tools Overview. So warmly welcome him on the stage.
Well, I lost that bet. I thought maybe 5 people would be here by 10 a.m. So thanks for showing up. So introduce myself a little bit because maybe most people here don't know who I am or Team Cymru. So I'll do a little bit of introduction there. I've been at Team Cymru for about 14 years going on, and I've done pretty much every role at the company other than human resources and accounting. So I started as a systems engineer. I ran our data center operations team for about 7 years. I helped create a sales engineering team. I learned that part of how business works. And now I'm on the community outreach team. So having built and designed a lot of the data flows through our system, I'm able to talk about it quite a bit. Previous to that, I was a system engineer for like tier 3 wireless companies. This is like pre-iPhone. So like when there's MMS gateways, WAP gateways, when you bought ringtones on your Nokia phones is what I kind of supported. So what does Team Cymru do? I think that a lot of people always ask that question. And how does that match our mission, which is to save and improve human lives, which has been a mission of ours for over 20 years? The answer is Team Cymru really sits between like network security and threat intelligence. So pretty much I'd say, and I don't have a talk track, so I might ramble a little bit with this. Really, our view is that threat actors do things on the internet, and they will always, by doing things on the internet, there's one constant. They have to be on the internet to do it. So by looking more at layer 3 level kind of data rather than endpoint application layer, we try to track threats through like flow data, different malware analysis to some degree, but really the premise is who are they connecting to, who are the infected hosts, and notifying those victims for free has been a Team Cymru thing since we started. So I'll kind of go over some of those tools. I would say that Team Cymru is a small company. We're only 100, 150 people. We've been really small. I started when we only had 30. I will say a lot of our tools, if you remember the clothing company in the 90s called FUBU, it standard for us, by us. It was like urban clothes. A lot of our tools are like FUBU for network guys. So they are like for network guys by network people. So that the tools look like they're not fancy is what I'm trying to say. They get the job done. But if you grew up using like Cacti, MRTG, that era, a lot of our tools will be right up your alley. So along with going off some of the tools we have, we're really known for our bogons list. That's been a thing for over 20 years. Essentially, bogons, non-routable IP addresses that are sometimes used by threat actors to spoof. We essentially just offer a feed in different forms for network operators to use. We have it mainly as a BGP feed. That is probably the best way to use it, but if you just want to download over HTTPS, you can go ahead and just download that. Pretty much nowadays, like there's like the definitions between bogons and full bogons. Full bogons also include any non-assigned ranges. That's the one anyone will want to use nowadays. I think probably 10, 15, 20 years ago, maybe not so much. But this is the thing that we're known for. I probably don't need to go too much into it because everyone, if you read on mailing lists, they'll say, basic practice, are you filtering out bogons? So this is one way to get those. So we also have like a IP to ASN feed. This is really cool. This is one of those things where once you find out and start using it, it's really useful because it's like a who is lookup, but not relying on registration data. The data is relied on actually just BGP announcements. So by using our whois server, it tells you who is actually announcing that CIDR range or that AS. It's much more useful in the like as of today, who is actually announcing this range. So you can use it. I have a QR codes which will take you to the website that gives a little more of the technical feeds or technical info for each one of these. I did make the QR codes. I made sure that they work and stuff. So it's, I know the network security company saying, "Hey, use the QR code." It looks really dumb, but it's a legit. Or is it? Anyways, so just want to kind of cover. We try to make it very useful through different types of methods of delivery. Feel free to just use it as you guys wish. It does support a bulk mode. You have to use netcat for it, essentially. The website will mention that you need to use a specific version of netcat that you need to compile, especially if you're using like a MacBook. The default won't work. I tried it, but you can hit it with millions of ranges and get an answer back within a second. So it's really useful. So this is probably the most mission-focused thing we have. Team Cymru produces like IP reputation feeds commercially. We provide that same data for free to every government and national CERT team with over 200 members currently. So for whatever is in their jurisdiction, we provide that to them just for it. That would include C2s that we know are within their country, also victims, any infected hosts. At times, they may even ask for more general things like open resolvers, open NTP servers, anything that they may be wanting to help clean up. We'll work with the ISPs. That is something we provide to pretty much a lot of CERT teams. So I just really want to stress that I think this is where Team Cymru we do our best to put our money where our mouth is. If we're saying we're here to save and improve human lives, we should actually be trying to clean up the internet, period, and not just make money off of it, right? So this is the thing. If you're not getting like alerts from your CERT team, hit them up. Pretty much every country in Europe gets this. So just want to make sure that is getting. The whole point is for them to then notify operators and not go through the typical threat intelligence world, which is like blogging about it and naming and shaming hosting providers and ISPs. We really don't want to go down that route. We really just want to fix things. Okay, so we call it internally like DNB, but this is a Dragon News Bytes. Essentially, we have, well, our entire team is looking up as the day goes on, like Twitter feeds and certain blogs, or someone sends us something and says, hey, Unit 42 from Palo Alto blogged about this thing. What we do is we take a lot of those blogs, kind of figure out which ones are probably real versus marketing, and we provide that to a mailing list that is vetted. And it is a very plain text email. It just has a little synopsis and summary of what the article's about with a link to it. There's no marketing tracking. There's no pixel stuff. It's just a bare bones thing. You can get it delivered to you like as a daily summary or as we see them sent to you, but super useful. They're all tagged. We pre-pen the subject with like APT or critical infrastructure or breach or something with like a CERT team. So you can set up any mail rules that you'd like. Can perfectly do that. Like I use procmail still, so that works. So malware hash registry. So we process a lot of malware. We do a lot of data exchanges with the AV companies. So they provide malware to us. And so we make the detections of malware hashes available to the community. So when you essentially, I'll have a screenshot in the next slide, but you submit a MD5, a SHA-1, SHA-256 of a specific binary, and we will tell you how many of the 30 or 60 AV engines that we use have reported it as being malware. This is built into Zeek, formerly Bro. So if you have a security teams that use IDS, IPS, it's been part of Bro for like 10 years. So There is an API as well. You can start hammering it. We just ask that you have to sign up to get a key. Please let us know what rate you want to run it or you're expecting to do. Because if it gets too bad, we do have to rate limit. But super useful. Think of it like a very slimmed down virus total. It's not trying to do malware analysis. It just says, hey, is this malware, yes or no? It is really useful. So here's a screenshot of like the web version that you can use, as well as if you click on the APIs, it'll give you different examples of if you want to use whois or something, a bash prompt of what that would look like. So just want to make sure these are just really cool stuff to just use. Please feel free, try it out. Just want to make sure it's available to anyone that's just running some basic scripts. This is great. All right, so now let's talk about DDoS mitigation tools that we offer. You kind of think that maybe Bogons kind of fits in that realm, right? Because filter out some spoofed packets, but a lot of people have talked about, RTBH. We run a community-driven RTBH tool. We call it the unwanted traffic removal service called Utters, which is why the logo is the cow. But essentially it is community driven. So essentially you send your announcement of what /32 needs to be RTBH'd. We announce that to the community. So essentially instead of your immediate upstream eating all that bandwidth, it goes up multiple peers. So think of it like since a lot of the tier ones in the US are part of this peering network, it can help stop it at the infected hosts that are doing the actual attack. So it's not going in and just consuming bandwidth for everybody else, essentially. It does support flow spec. I really want to drive on that. This was, if anyone knows John Christoph, known as JDK, he's been around. This was his design and implementation like 15 years ago, and we've been carrying it on. So we really want to make sure this is like the for us by us type of community driven tool. Please use it. It really helps everybody else. If you're getting attacked and you're upstream, but also just the rest of the community doesn't have to eat all that bandwidth on its path. So let's see. I think that's it for that one. Okay, now let's talk about some other tools of ours, and I'm going a little fast, so I'll talk about this a little bit. So we offer a free NetFlow analyzer. This is, I'd say, this is really useful, not from just the flow analyzing aspect of identifying traffic flow, because it's more on the external, like edge router so if you're running enterprise networks, anything in RC 1918, this will not work with, but it really is useful for seeing what's going across the internet. But what we do is we add all of our threat intelligence data to let you know if what is affected on your networks, or what are C2s or anything that maybe you have a hosting provider within your network, or compromised SOHO routers and the more malicious types of residential proxies. It will tell you what those IP addresses are, but also what you're connecting to that is those things as well. So if you have a lot of traffic going to odd things on your network, the CTI level of context is really useful for cleaning up things on your network. I would say, this is being recorded, so I have to be careful how I say this. It is a free tool. It looks like a free tool. So it is not a fastnetmon. It's not a Kentik. It's not a Benox. This is usually used in conjunction with those tools, but it's really the CTI context that we add that is what makes it really useful. So you can create alerts that goes to your security people, anything that is in that realm, but it is based off the flow traffic rather than more like anomalous detection through like Bro, Circata, This is a little more just rudimentary of like, hey, you're talking something bad, or something is talking to something bad on your network, and then you create an alert for that for your SOC or security people. It is cloud-based, so we do support like IPsec, WireGuard, OpenVPN tunnels for sending flows. We do not like them sent over the air, just for security purposes, obviously. Obviously, as well as IPv6, because that obviously is going to be a different export config in most routers. We have over 600 ASNs that are participating in this, and happy to discuss it more. It's always going to be evolving as time goes on. I think in the next couple of years, as I've come onto the team, I think this will probably grow into being more of a thing we would like to work with other flow analyzers with, and not always just carry our own. We're really good at the CTI aspect. Rather, Team Cymru work with the actual NetFlow monitoring experts in the industry. So here's a screenshot. We also call it Nimbus. So if you ever heard Team Cymru talking about Nimbus, but it's just very basic. We used to run it on NFSend before we moved over to Elastic. NFSend works as well. So then let's talk about Protect. And this is a little more with like the NIS2 stuff that's coming out next year. Noticing a lot of like pressure put on hosting providers. And as we've worked with a lot of different hosting providers, we've noticed that they will get labeled like a bulletproof hosting provider, when really they're like 3 guys in a basement, or maybe they made a data center like above a laundromat, and they're just trying to make money, and they don't really care about security too much or what people are doing they're just trying to sell VPSs. But because of that, they kind of get labeled as a bulletproof hoster, when really it's like they just don't have time. So we kind of took that like NetFlow community-driven type of tool, and we're like, well, how do we help them clean up their networks without doing the naming and shaming bit that a lot is known in the cyber industry with blogs. You see it all the time, right? So kind of just took the same data, changed the UI to really help the hosting providers. Because like I said, we're not a NetFlow analyzer company. We're more that's context driven. So they already have those kind of tools for a lot of operational stuff. So one thing is like IX Protect. Essentially is like our Nimbus product, but it is for the IXs to offer that kind of visibility for their members. They obviously can't just shoot flows to Team Cymru without their members' acknowledgement, right? So essentially it's just like a different level of provisioning and sign up. An IX can sign up with Team Cymru. We provide a new sign up for their members then to allow for exporting flows to us and then us providing that dashboard to them. So that is, I'd say, how that works. But it very similar to that screenshot of the Elastic bit. I'd say as privacy concerns have grown, and also I'd say like in parts of Asia, they just by laws, Japan, Taiwan, they can't just export flows to anybody outside the country. That's just the privacy culture as well as laws there. So we have like a bad actors variant, which we provide a list of known malicious already to an ISP or to a member, and they can export flows to a device and filter to just that list, and then send that to us to help us analyze it a bit. But essentially, like we have to be ethical, legal, and transparent. So this is one way for members. We're like, well, I'm not too sure about sending like all flows. I already have a Kentic, a Benox. So this is just one way for us to provide the context, a little deeper analysis. And if I have time, I'll kind of explain why at the end of this. So this is just the opt-in page for the initial sign up. And then we work with you guys directly for like how do you want your members to offer to your members. And also there's a technical implementation of like, how are you going to export just their flows? Do you have that capability? Do we need to put a box in the colo to then actually export, filter, what have you. We work with a lot of ISPs, so my network, my rules, so we abide by that rule. So here's the version of that we offer to the hosting providers. A lot of times, like I said, they're using a NetFlow analyzer. So this is more of like, here is what we see within your hosting world, and the reputation it has, not just Team Cymru stuff, but the OSINT level stuff that comes from like Shadow Server, or Shadow Server like Spam House, and all the AbuseCH and those types of places. So they can just kind of go create alerts off of, hey, when I see if one of my customers is now running a C2, whether it's compromised or they're a bad actor, we want to help the hosting provider clean up the reputation before the rest of the world starts naming and shaming them to oblivion, right? So with the NIS2 stuff coming down, a lot more onus, I think, kind of goes to the hosting providers to clean things up. So we really wanted to try to help on that aspect. And then lastly, by working with a lot of the poor reputation hosting providers that we have over time, we've worked with them to kind of to help them not just be labeled as a bulletproof hoster, but here are the IPs that the rest of the world that we may want to, the rest of the world may not want a lot of communication with, or maybe there's certain customers of theirs that it's going to stay online for a while for, maybe because there's researchers that are collecting data off of that, but the rest of the world may still want to not limit access to. So essentially, it's like true poor reputation of specific IP addresses on bulletproof hosting providers, essentially. So it's trying to go down almost to like a block list. I know that can be a touchy term, but essentially, like, here's the IPs from these providers you may want to mitigate to some level. And I say it's coming this year, so that QR code does not pull up a Team Cymru page. And then lastly, we're really known for running a lot of conferences. We run one every year called Underground Economy. It used to be at the Interpol headquarters in Lyon. Now it's been hosted for the past 5 or 6 years at the Council of Europe in Strasbourg. It essentially is a mixture of network operators, researchers, and law enforcement in a TLP red type environment. So upon registration at the doors, NDAs are signed to really share the depth of investigations from start to finish. And so a lot of times it's people, if a larger ISP, especially in the US based, has like a research team, they're talking about, hey, we had this incident came in, we started looking at flows that then helped us lead to infected hosts, we looked at images, and then we got law enforcement involved, and then law enforcement then went knocked on their doors, yada, 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 and then here's the person in handcuffs type of thing. So in the past, we've had people talk about the entire Emotet takedowns and things like that, which are really things that can only be talked about in depth behind closed doors. So we've had this hosted at tons of places previously. We have smaller versions of this as well, called the Regional Internet Security events, and we move that around to really try to foster the community aspect, bringing more of the operators and hosting providers within that country, along with threat researchers and law enforcement of that area. We just had one, let's see, Tieto Every hosted one last year, or earlier this year. It was the cruise from Helsinki to Stockholm and back. Is the actual venue, which was pretty cool. Last year, the Latvian CERT team hosted it in Riga. We've had one in Singapore last year. So we really tried to move this around, but there's 3 to 4 of these a year, the regional ones. We'd like to have more presence here and help the community here in the Baltics. So just as a heads up, if you ever see Team Cymru Rise, it really is trying to bring that community. It's entirely free conferences. Everything's covered by sponsors, but it is a very like TOP Red type of thing. That's why there's not a lot of press about it, because you can't talk about it outside the what happens in the conference stays there essentially. But love to have more operation presence there, operators involved. I mean, you guys run the networks. You shouldn't just be the victims of what the researchers are digging into, right? So I would like more support on the operator side. So that is it, actually. Any questions? Or
Thank you very much, Mr. Scott.